This episode of Important If True is brought to you by Warby Parker, stylish and affordable frames, prescription, sunglasses, and eyeglasses. Get 5 frames sent to your home for free by going to warbyparkertrial.com/thumbs.
Why do podcasting ads exist in their own world where the nouns are different? Get frames. Get blooms. Like, what? They're glasses and flowers. Just make an online set piece. It's a website.
Yeah,
create a new dish.
No, glasses include lenses. But you're only trying the frames.
But the frames include lenses that are just
You'll only need
non-prescription.
the edge of the glasses. The part without
You don't
the
cut
frame.
yourself on the lens.
No. There's your answer.
A delicious dish.
Jake Rotkin, delicious dish.
No.
Should we just start trying?
Oh, right. Let me turn on the robot.
Let us begin the trying.
It's November 2nd, 2017.
And this is Important If True.
Fraddle Thumbs, I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
Happy birthday, Jake.
Yeah,
That's
happy
old
birthday,
news. That's
Jake.
old news.
No, it's...
You're wishing me in advance 363 days
Yeah,
from now.
that's true.
When I turn even
Yes.
older.
No.
When I turn into a skeleton.
Happy birthday to your ghost. Your 2-day-old ghost. That's
Yeah.
still celebrating your birthday.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're recording this on Halloween, which means it's recording it on Jake's birthday.
It also means this
Halloween
episode is
birthday.
fucking haunted.
It's true. Man, get ready for the spirit of Jake to permeate all corners
Ooh.
of this Important If True.
I am America's spooky sound effects record.
When you were a kid and it was your birthday on Halloween, did that, mean anything?
I meant that my birthday was fucking awesome.
Really?
And otherwise, yeah. I mean, people ask about that all the time. We're like,
Yeah.
like a holiday birthday, but it's because you're used to a
Like a
gift,
Christmas
like
birthday?
a gift-giving
Right.
birthday,
Yeah, it's like
or a
it doubles
gift-giving
up,
holiday
yeah.
where it's like, oh yeah, no. Halloween birthdays as a kid were very good.
Yeah. That makes sense because people haven't exhausted their gift budget because all they bought is cheap candy.
Yeah, it's far enough away from other gift-giving holidays that no one tries to double up, and all that you do on Halloween anyway is hang around with your friends and do goofy stuff.
Right.
So
It's always a
but if
costume
you're
party.
yeah.
If you're an awkward weirdo who doesn't want to make a big deal about a regular birthday, you can still hang out with your friends.
Right, exactly.
But not have the pressure of a sort of formalized birthday fete, if you will.
Yeah. Also, I'm cursed.
True.
I'm cursed to die.
You just mean eventually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in my case, it's a
But in
curse,
your
and not
case,
just
and
not
not just a biological reality.
not just human existence. Yeah,
Sure. Well, that's cool.
yeah, it's
cooler.
way spookier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any actual Halloween plans?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
No. Old guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go over to my friend's house who lives in a neighborhood where there are kids,
Mhm.
and maybe hand out some candy and watch a scary movie. Just
Yeah.
be an old person on Halloween.
Sure.
It's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm actually doing something similar. You did go to that corn maze, though, I saw.
I did go to a corn maze.
How was that?
It was a corn maze.
I went
don't
to
know.
that corn. Was it the same one I went with you to years ago?
Yeah, I mean the maze
Yeah.
itself is different. You can't
Yeah.
use your same knowledge from previous years of the corn maze. But yeah.
That's cool. Classic corn maze.
Corn maze is surprisingly effective at being scary and a weird sensory experience. They do a very good job, at least of the corn maze that I went to.
Yeah.
It's way bigger than you think that it is, and they know this because the entrance they don't have very much visible corn. They just have shrubs and tents and stuff, so you can't quite tell the size of it. But
Right.
they light when you're inside of it, you can't tell how big it is, except that they shoot light right across the top of all of the stalks of corn. So only the top
Oh,
3
man, I
or
don't
4
even remember
inches of
that.
it is lit, so you can look up. That also means that it's bright up there, so your eyes can't expose things correctly. So it's very dark. And then they have 2 metal towers out in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah.
So when you get a third of the way through the maze, you can climb up and see that you're just in the middle
Oh,
of just
man.
an infinite sea of corn.
Crazy.
It's really
Yeah, it's
really
intense.
effective. It's a good experience that I enjoy every year. Also, who doesn't like just shitty hometown Halloween haunted entertainment? It's a good staple of the world.
Yeah. It's a birthday tradition.
It's yes. Everyone makes me a corn maze.
Shall we read an email?
Yes.
Hey, you were winding up for something there.
Oh, I could talk about Halloween garbage forever, but let's read an email instead in this November episode of this podcast.
All right. Did we clarify that we're recording this on Halloween? That's why
Yes.
I keep talking about. Okay, sorry. Just making sure.
Or are we?
There's an I guess this isn't an email, but this is an amazing piece of information that I was not aware of that kind of blew my mind. This is a television technology, or I guess more accurately, a television business model application of technology. So here's a bit from a news article. 20th Television, the distributor of How I Met Your Mother. And by the way, the fact that like 20th Century Fox, their television arm is 20th Television.
Yeah.
That's the.
Do you remember that?
That sucks.
Their logo isn't like this anymore, but if you watch old Fox TV shows, it would have the 20th Century Fox logo and then just like the word television would like zoom in.
Yeah.
Paste it
And like
over.
cover the word. Yeah, there was just a violator of the word television that would fly in over the 20th Century Fox logo. Just
do
like,
remember that.
this is our cheap television arm. We couldn't even make a new good Fox logo, so it just says like television flies in. Anyway, 20th Television.
Was that the like La Cucaracha horn?
That's I guess it is.
20th Television.
Right, 20th Century Fox is and 20th Television on a melodica. Anyway, 20th Television.
20th Television, the distributor of How I Met Your Mother, has been selling promotional spots in syndicated episodes to wring even more money out of the sitcom's already rich syndication deals. Specifically, the feat is accomplished in partnership with a company, SeamBI, which stands for Seamless Brand Integration, and is responsible...
Hang on,
Could have dealt with a more seamless
BI.
name for your company, I think. Maybe
20th Television, Scene BI.
Which stands for Seamless Brand Integration and is responsible for digitally altering old episodes with new products and brands.
Ugh.
Yeah, quote a gross sentence. CEO Roy Baharov calls SeamBI a, quote, advertising technology innovator, unquote, and says what they do, monetize aging television shows by adding new brands and product placement into old episodes, is the future. Quote, what we do is we insert very efficiently brands into content in a natural way and in a way that is valuable to advertisers, he says. We find a balance between not compromising the integrity of the content and, on the other hand, bringing a lot of
Completely altering
value
it.
to the advertiser.
God, just
Well, fortunately, they're not compromising.
meanwhile in SeamBI, an alarm goes content integrity
compromised.
We've gone too far. It's a content breach.
No, we're fine. We're still 20% off of integrity compromise.
Smug,
That's just
boost the brands.
That's just the early warning. We can push it farther. We can go.
This is, of course, any episode of any sort of sci-fi thriller TV show that SeamBI has seamlessly redone to be about themselves.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. This is their B2B, their business to business, like meta marketing angle. So what
Scene
this?
BI's B2B.
Yeah, SeamBI B2B, B2B.
To be.
To be. So what this actually is in practice is SeamBI takes old episodes of television shows that are in syndicated in rerun, and they digitally composite into the existing episodes ads for current products, which mainly seem to be ads for movies that are currently in theaters or on DVD.
At least that's what they were doing when this news was.
This is a few years
it
old.
should have
Yeah.
been 2011 or something like that.
Yeah. And so you can find a ton of examples of this for a number of different shows, and it's I was reading more about it, and apparently one of the challenges of this of not the technology, but of just executing this is that the way that they typically do it is they just insert like posters and television ads into the background of scenes of these shows. But the challenge is that in order to do that, they actually need just a flat surface or like a television or a picture frame or a poster frame or something.
But sometimes they add them. Sometimes they add a full TV into the background.
Exactly. They often don't have that flat surface available, but they do have just screen real estate. So they will just insert an entire like flat screen television into the background that wasn't present in the original episode. To like they have a shot of How I Met Your Mother, and then there's someone has a before and after because they were confused about what was happening, and there's just a character in a bar or something, and there's just a wall behind him, and then in the after shot there's just a TV, like a mounted TV on the wall where there wasn't one before, with I guess a commercial for that movie Country Strong. So that's so the thing that was crazy, the thing that was interesting, the implication that I found intriguing is, what if these advertisers have multi-year deals? Like, what if they're like, all right, for in season 3, episode 7 of How I Met Your Mother, like we've bought out this prime real estate for the next decade, for our whatever our product is. But what if other advertisers still want to get in on it? Do they then have to like keep putting more TVs and like computer screens and shit into the background?
As our world now in the real world gets worse, we will be modifying old television shows to reflect our worst reality.
Yeah.
Where it's like, they've always lived in a shitty reality full of loud TVs blaring at you. Every like old episodes of Cheers, you're like, God, they have 7 HD TVs just blaring ads every time any character's in a taxi in like an episode of Taxi.
Oh man,
there's TV ads.
The way that modern the New York taxis are with the shitty little taxi TV.
Watch
show.
Jimmy Kimmel tonight. Jimmy Kimmel tonight. I'm like, Jesus, Jimmy Kimmel was on during taxis. Jesus. But it still has that like low-key taxi opening theme song,
right?
Except that all of the shots are just like 1,000 billboards and like
yeah, the future promised by like Brazil and other kind of retro future sort of science fiction realities in which every corner of your life is just crammed with TVs and
that are all just horribly plugged in outside of the walls, just just grossly.
Hopefully, CMBI CEO Roy Baharov keeps up with his pledge of seamless integration, maintaining the integrity of the content, not compromising the integrity of the content, by really selling this future with all of the like accoutrement and the every scene setting bit.
It's when I heard this story, even though it's years old and I just heard it for the first time like in the last couple of weeks, it did totally blow my mind. And then I thought about the fact that it shouldn't be actually that surprising, given that sure. Do you remember when the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie came out? There was a big hubbub about this stuff because when Spider-Man is learning his powers, like in that movie, he's like shooting web all around his room, and he eventually starts trying to like grab a Dr. Pepper can across his bedroom and get it to him.
Yeah.
They went through like 5 different soda brands before settling on Dr. Pepper because that's the company that bid the highest.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to they shot it with a can, and then they had to turn it into a special effect.
They had to keep pasting that over the can. Yeah.
But also, like, this is super common in broadcast sports. Like, they build sports arenas now with just empty spots, I think, that are just
green
like
screens,
just green.
Yeah.
And then it matches in, which people noticed really clearly during one of the World Series games this year because a MasterCard ad, the motion matching fucked up, and it drew in front of the players.
Yeah. And so there was just this huge, like, MasterCard black obelisk on top of the head of a player about to catch a ball. And what was so fucked up about
my favorite player
is that later in the evening, MasterCard posted a tweet that was like, this was our favorite player of the series. And it had their fuck up of the MasterCard logo just plastered over the actual game, like baseball game content.
We did it.
Yeah, and they were so pleased about it. And it's so fucking weird that a brand that we're now in this weird sort of simultaneous reality where a brand can kind of act as though it's ironically engaging in like the funny, like appreciation of the funny flub, but really all they're just doing is just putting another MasterCard ad out into the world, and like it's bizarre.
Have you guys also? Man, this is another thing from around, I guess, probably 2011 or a little earlier, when effects companies reels for like digital backlot style TV production started becoming really common.
Oh yeah.
There's like that video. I think most of the footage was from the TV show Monk, which is just like an innocuous show about a detective in San Francisco, and and it just looks like it's in San Francisco. But then the effects company put out the video for it about how they made it, and it was just like characters on a sidewalk in Los Angeles with huge green walls everywhere. Then like the screen just like wipes 4 times as it shows all the layers of background shots of San Francisco, and like they can motion match cameras, so like it looks like
that show came out a while ago too, right?
Yes, mid 2000s, I think. Yeah, where it looks like a character, steps off a curb and stops for a second as like a cable car goes by, but really there's just like, and then sort of just moves on, and it's just the 2 actors in front of a big green wall on a backlot in Los Angeles. It's really impressive, but it's actually really cool and makes you just think, oh, wow, a random person with a green screen could probably actually make something really awesome looking for very little money. But what it probably means after reading this article, all that I thought about was every TV show that's made now probably does have the HD TVs in the background and does have the billboards in the background, and they probably do just put green screens like baseball stadiums all over the place.
Because then in the future it's so much easier
and
to
then
sell ads against.
The first time they put that show on TV, maybe that stuff is sponsored content, maybe it's just empty, but like all of the motion matching data is probably just on a server at every network TV production office. So it's like, okay, just Control V the ad in and literally re-render the episode.
They're probably putting Scene BI out of business.
Yes. Yeah, Scene BI is probably nothing because the just default effects compositing to make any TV show has all of this data, and there's probably a person who just pre-penned all of this ad information in there.
Man, you're right. Then you're totally fucking right about like Cheers and Taxi and stuff. That's going to be the remaining unmined territory
all Scene
for
BI
Scene
can
BI.
do is go further into the past.
Yeah. Dick Van Dyke Show.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Where he trips over like an article.com ottoman. This episode is brought to you now. This episode may one day be brought to you by Article. Actually, also, dynamic ad insertion is super common in podcasts.
That's true.
Because it is incredibly easy because it's just audio.
Yeah.
Like most major podcasts that anyone listens to at this point, that stuff is totally just spliced in by the server. We're not cool enough to rate that stuff.
Yeah, we don't know how to do that, but...
Yeah. This episode will forever not be brought to you by
This
Article.
episode of Important If True is brought to you by Article. They sell something. Whoa, what was that?
I didn't hear anything.
Huh. Weird. You guys want to do another email?
Yes.
Drew
Oh, hi, Drew.
writes, "Hey guys, I just watched Ex Machina for the first time, knowing nothing about it other than it is a highly praised robot movie. There's an intense sequence where the main character is watching secret footage of the tech genius character doing something sinister. The music and editing made me think a dramatic reveal was afoot. I had assumed other robot ladies existed in the movie, so I was looking for something new to be revealed. When it showed the guy working on various other robots, the blocking of the scene made me think the tech genius was actually dressing up as the different robots. My mind was blown. I thought the guy had been pretending to be a super genius creating a perfect AI, when actually he's just a weirdo who traps sad employees in an Alaskan bro resort so he can seduce them as a sexy robot lady. The concept of the Turing test the protagonist is meant to perform was flipped on its head. I was in shock, then amazed this high-profile film had such a premise, and the audience was so positive about it. I was filled with hope for the future of film, that maybe blockbusters were moving towards something strange and new. And then the sequence kept playing, and I realized he was just making more robots. Have you ever fundamentally misinterpreted a piece of fiction but enjoyed it more as a result?" God, I love that
that's
so
such an
much.
amazing...
And it's so
email,
crushing.
yeah.
I mean, that seems like kind of a spoiler, but it's not, because the thing that he thought it was not.
Is not it.
not what it is.
Yeah, it's just- yeah.
God, but the idea of the Oscar Isaac character in that film, like, that the whole deal is that he just amazingly dresses up as a bunch of different robot women so that he can just mess with the guy. Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And
and that movie with like the way that that movie is staged, like I can fully understand why
it's blocked in that really kind of enigmatic way where there's like
and he's never
the camera
around
moves
like
behind.
Yeah, you never
things
see them both in the
and
same
stuff.
Oscar Isaac is never there when he's speaking to the robot, so he just sort of like conveniently disappears, and then this robot comes out.
Right.
It's like it's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
this email is crushing to me.
Yeah.
Because I can so powerfully empathize with this reader and the crushing disappointment they must have felt when they realized that this mind-blowingly ridiculous scenario that they thought was being played totally straight was not.
1-star Amazon review.
Yeah.
I thought he was the sexy robot.
Why wasn't he dressing up as the robots? That's what I thought was going to happen, and that's obviously better.
It should have happened.
I'm going to talk about The Usual Suspects for a second.
Okay.
A friend of mine in high school, The Usual Suspects, I'm going to talk about the end of The Usual Suspects for a second. Everyone knows the end of The Usual Suspects.
I think this is actually the 20th anniversary year of The Usual Suspects.
Nope.
Okay,
that
good.
Movie came out in 97?
In honor of The Usual Suspects' 20th anniversary,
No.
I will
I
tell
could
the
be wrong
story
about
of
that.
You are.
my friend's very good misinterpretation of The Usual Suspects.
Okay.
We all know the general plot of The Usual Suspects, right?
I do.
Yeah.
At the end of it, the person who is the informant walks out of the police station, and then
This person who's been spinning a tale to the police for the entire film about this complicated heist
always
or whatever it was.
walks with a limp and sort of like a crumpled, has a sort of hunched over form. And then he leaves, and it's revealed that was all a character he was playing. He's actually the bad guy, whatever.
Yeah, he straightens out his posture and
then confidently gets into a car and drives away. My friend in high school, when he watched the end of this movie, was overcome with emotion because this character, by telling his story and getting it off his chest, was healed.
yes!
Oh no!
Yes! Oh my god!
Oh yeah, he just missed the eye and was like, "Oh, it's so great."
That's incredible.
And I was like, "Are you what? Are you what?" And then he was like, "What? That was the guy?" Oh. But he was like, he was just having such an emotional reaction.
Oh my god, that's
amazing.
wonderful. That's beautiful. See, once again,
really nice.
once again,
Yeah.
I hear that story and I am crushed. I'm just like, it kills me that your friend then had to be brought back down to earth.
Yeah, I'm like,
with this.
No, it's a different movie
He
that
thought
you
he
saw.
was watching the fucking Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old
I
were
wanna,
you?
re-edit
You would have been
that
like
scene
17 when that movie
Yeah, and
came
he's
out?
a few years younger than me.
Okay.
So he was like a freshman in high school probably or something.
God, that's so good.
Yeah.
Oh man, that reminds me of.
He was a very gullible friend. He was the person who, when we're at eating
a very gullible friend.
Yeah, when we're at a fast food restaurant, basically every single time you could say that there's a really sick sports car going through the drive-thru, and he would just go, "What?" and look at it, and then people would just eat his food every time. Not because he was stupid. He was actually an incredibly smart and capable person.
He just wanted to see the good.
He was good-natured and
the
trusting,
world.
and then he would turn around and think it was hilarious that he got fooled again every single time.
Wow.
He never was annoyed by it. He's
Wow.
actually a great person.
Yeah.
And I feel slightly bad for doing that to him, except that now I still do it.
To him?
Yes.
Who is that? Do I know this person?
No, he's my friend Sebastian.
Okay, yeah. Wow. Man, so I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess this person doesn't need my sympathy.
No.
No.
Oh.
He knows that he is how he is, and he's made peace with it, and he is entertained by it.
That's great.
And he's a happy
that's really
adult.
Good.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. That interpretation of The Usual Suspect reminds me of the interpretation that my wife Sarah had as a child watching Beauty and the Beast, which was a movie that she loved, except that at the end. So pretty sure I'm not spoiling Beauty and the Beast here. The Beast was a prince who was cursed to be a beastly creature. And
a beast, if you will.
A beast, if you will. And by fulfilling the, condition of this curse, by falling in love with a human woman, he is transformed back into his princely self at the end of the film, and the two characters live happily ever after. So that's what happens in that movie, I think, self-evidently to everybody. But Sarah, as a young child, loved everything about that movie until the point when the Beast disappears and some random human guy suddenly comes in and immediately falls in love with Belle, and then they live happily forever after. And she was furious and distraught that the Beast whom she had grown to like love and empathize with over the course of the movie, is magically disappears and is banished forever. and that's the best.
That's justifiable though, because that human prince in Beauty and the Beast sucks. Like, just he sucks.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, that's why he was transformed in the first place.
Yeah, but I
teach
mean,
him a
like,
lesson.
just some schmo shows up. It's true. I think the majority of people who watch Beauty and the Beast, when the Beast transforms into just like that guy, go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. It's a
But Sarah justifies it, like, that can't be the same guy. That's some shithead who's just marching in and ruining the movie.
Yeah, no, I mean to your point, and to her, to like, I guess to sort of the reasons that she was led to that misunderstanding, it does really kind of undermine a lot of the point of the movie. It's kind of like, well, I don't know if it does or not. I don't really know what the point of that movie is, I guess, in general. It is weird to watch that as an adult, and it's like, man, there's, I guess, like a Stockholm relationship being implied. I mean, that's not like a new observation, but it's we watched some of the live action one, and it's way more fucked up in my brain watching that one. I don't know about anyone else, but there's just some weird like implications in that film.
You can look around the internet and find those implications teased out, Chris. You can see what any questions
true.
you have about Beauty and the Beast have been answered.
I feel chastised for thinking about this, and I don't desire to think about it any longer.
Okay.
Yeah. Should we take a break?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, okay.
All right.
Why not?
Hi, Jake.
Hey.
Got any candy?
I mean, not for you. That was a really creepy thing to ask me.
Not for me.
No.
Well,
stranger.
for yourself only.
Yeah. I mean, it was Halloween.
Are your teeth all gross now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
For sure.
Well, I have exactly what you need.
This is the creepiest situation.
If you go to tryquip.com/thumbs, you can get a Quip electric toothbrush with $10 off your first brush head refill.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. Far more interesting than when you said, hey, kid, do you have any candy?
Hey, kid, got any candy?
Got any candy? Because I've got toothbrushes for you.
That's actually pretty fucked up, too. Coercively, like, enrolling a child in a recurring payment plan for brush heads. If they started getting that to their house, their parent would probably
kids,
be a
ask
little
your
bit
parents' permission before you get Quip
if you're
toothbrushes.
13 or under, please get your parents' permission before going to tryquip.com/thumbs for $10 off your first brush head refill. But still do it. I mean, get their permission, like, by whatever means necessary.
Get that nice toothbrush and get that Halloween nastiness out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And leave only the clean, sort of aesthetic nastiness that is the inside, like human teeth.
Yeah, that Halloween clean.
Yeah.
That ween clean.
New ad time. Let's go.
Tryquip.com/thumbs. Hey, Jake.
Hey, Chris.
Got any candy?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Is it like small, fun-sized candy?
I guess it's technically called fun size sometimes, but I don't want to tell you that that's what I have.
But it's small.
Yeah.
So the nutrition facts are probably like pretty tough to read because they have to squeeze them down on.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
Yeah? I have exactly what you need.
Oh, wow.
If you go to warbyparkertrial.com/thumbs, you can get 5 frames to try out different styles of prescription eyeglasses so you can more easily read those tiny little nutrition facts on your fun-sized Halloween candy.
Well, what if I need glasses, but what if I don't want to know how bad the candy is for me? Can I just try the frames with like the blank prescription-free lenses?
Oh, totally, yeah. warbyparkertrial.com/thumbs.
I get the style, but then I don't have to be able to see.
They'll send you those frames with no prescription lenses in them, just blank glass, and you can just look cool for 5 days until you decide. You can wait for 5 days until you've eaten all your Halloween candy.
Yeah, I could look really cool with some stylish frames, some stylish glasses, eat all that candy, and then when the candy is gone, I can tell them my actual prescription, and they send me the glasses I like, and I'll be none the wiser, other than the fact that I'm just like a sad who doesn't want to move around anymore.
And then you've got 360 days to enjoy those prescription lenses
until Halloween comes again, and then
again.
I'm shocked now that I can see them.
Yeah, then that's a shame. WarbyParkerTrial.com/thumbs to get your home try-on 5 frames for your prescription sunglasses or eyeglasses. This episode is brought to you by Halloween, a spooky time in the past. Ooh, podcast. Ugh. All right, are we back?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I heard that we were, and you've confirmed it. We have an email from Alex.
Oh, hi, Alex.
Alex writes, Alex can't respond. As a child of television, I had some expectations about how adulthood would be based on what I watched on my favorite shows, in particular how dating worked. When I was a young teen, I thought being an adult was dating a new person every week, and it was perfectly reasonable to break up with someone over the smallest indiscretion. I watched a lot of Seinfeld. Shocker, being an adult didn't play out that way. And I think I am more of a catch than George Costanza. Further, to be more raw, I quickly learned as an adult you can't actively deceive someone for an extended period of time and make good with an apology to wipe the slate clean, as I learned from schlubby dad sitcoms. Did you ever have expectations about life informed by mainstream television programming? Has Nick ever thought it was okay to be on a date where someone is feeding him answers through an earpiece? Thanks for the show. I recommend it to anyone who listens. Although I recognize that this email implies I cannot function socially and thus have no friends. Regards, Alex.
I feel like I was strongly misinformed about what college would be like from television, and I didn't actually internalize any of it in any meaningful ways, but man, are you told as a human being that what college is going to be is either people like you for your brain, which is a fucked up thing to tell people because what people actually like you for is just being a human.
Right.
And not because you're like a smart nerd. That was like the advice all nerd characters got. And also that you're going to be fucking partying all the time and have a lot of friends. None of those things were true.
No.
I was just miserable.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, like
lied to.
Yeah, it's true. You go, I guess, kind of, at least American pop culture, which is, I suppose, mainly what I can speak to. It does go through sort of age range, like intelligence prejudices. I guess intelligence is generally portrayed as positive, but it sort of dips into pockets where if you're too much of a nerd, you're like ostracized and socially awkward. But then the lesson is usually that ultimately you'll be rewarded serve you well. You'll be rewarded for it. Yeah.
I never
it's like a cross to bear.
I never took that stuff to heart enough that I actually like optimized for and expected it. But it was more like when I showed up in like college or like a job, I just went, why were these the things that anyone ever said when what actually happened is just life continues the way you would actually expect it? Like that was more like just where do these stories even come from is the question that I would ask myself when sort of hitting those various life thresholds. Instead of, it wasn't like, oh, I can't, you know, but.
Did it feel to you, though, like starting from high school on, basically, did it feel to you, though, that there was sort of just outside of your peripheral vision, another class of student who is just like secretly having that life in parallel? Because that always felt that way to me.
It felt that way in high school. I mean, I went to public school up until high school, and then basically because I was miserable and beat up all the time in junior high, my parents let me go to a small Catholic school, and that felt like there was a shadow culture that existed in that school that was completely alien to me.
School.
Yeah, because it was like these are kids who have known each other, like 30 to 60 kids in my class who had known each other since the Catholic elementary school, and they all were
a very different
like
thing.
a multi-generational families who had been to this school, and it was like there were surely just, and then I found out later there was just a group of kids who were like in sports, cheerleading, drinking, having sex at huge parties, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I sort of just feel the tendrils of it sneaking in.
Was it like a Skull and Bones situation?
No, they were just
like a secret society, or they were just cool.
They were just a bunch of moderately more well-off kids whose families had been in the town for a while.
Yeah,
who all knew each other.
Yeah,
and it was just like, oh, well. But then hearing about it later, I was like, oh, that actually sounds awful. Also, so that was nice. But
yeah, I mean, I went to a 3,000 student public school.
Yeah,
and there was still that that was still
Yeah.
also just present for sure.
I imagine that your life was exactly like the life as depicted in the TV show Veronica Mars, which I think was actually set in like a big San Diego high school.
Oh, yeah?
Modeled, I think, actually after the school you went to.
Really?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
So I imagine
weird,
that
I'll
you
have
were
to
like,
research that.
I imagine that there were all sorts of incredible socioeconomic rumbles that resulted in murders that were solved by precocious teens.
No, the thing that's actually a bummer about it is that
no murders and no teenage noir investigators.
Well, no, the thing that actually sucked is that multiple kids died every year, but it was always in drunk driving accidents. Like just I mean, it's like a bummer to say, but like that every year. There were like sprinkled throughout the year, usually after like homecoming or prom or something.
Yep.
There were students who died in drunk. So fucking don't do that if you're a human of any age, I guess. But no, the thing that's like also more of a bummer, man, what bummer answers I'm giving, was that the socioeconomic divisions in my high school, probably a lot of high schools, were just rigid. I mean, they were just like, it was like a caste system, but not in the sense that like one group tormented another group or anything. They just literally
never
did
interacted.
not interact.
Yeah.
They did not. It was crazy.
Yep. I mean, I also
It
went to
was-
like a 6,000 kid high school, and
Yeah.
it was.
I went to like a 50,000 kid high school.
I mean, I think I went to like one of the largest high schools in the country, and
Yeah.
it was like you had every
Biggest school, great school.
Yeah, huge. It was exactly the same way. Like, I mean, it did have all of the sort of like cliche groups from like Saved by the Bell
Mine
or
too.
whatever.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they didn't like meet up in the middle of the hall and just like
Oh.
like pick
Oh.
on each other or fight
Oh,
or
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it
We
was
definitely met up in the middle of the hall.
Well-
Guess which group I was part of? We hung out in the English class hallway,
yeah.
and I was on the academic team.
Ah,
So
yeah, uh-huh.
just imagine.
Yep.
Although I will say that my high school trajectory went through weird arcs. I ended up being sort of like upwardly mobile in my high school like caste system when I stopped like being as good at classes.
Stop caring,
well,
man.
I remember
So you
'cause,
like just
why does
lived
it-
the stupid Freaks and Geeks protagonist arc? Are
I
you
don't
kidding me?
remember what that's like.
Did you close it out by going to a Grateful Dead concert?
But I remember not being able to make it back onto the academic team one year and being really bummed about it. And it sort of just like changed a lot of my trajectory in high school in a weird way. And then I ended up running for student body. And
I was going to joke that you did that. Okay.
No, I totally did that. Actually, it was only because my friend, one of those people who is super into like school spirit and like let's like super enthusiastic, always has plans for everything, and plans will plan a party out months in advance and then has a million expectations for exactly how it's going to go, and then we'll be like crushingly disappointed if it doesn't turn out. I haven't talked to her in years, but like very positive person, but would have like amazing expectations for everything working out. And she was like, I'm going to run for this and you should run for office with me. And I'm like, I definitely am not going to do that. And she's like, no, totally. It'll be fun. Like, we'll run together and it'll be fun. And I'm like, okay, I guess. So I ran for academic commissioner of the Associated Student
You
Body.
weren't even allowed on the academic committee.
Yeah, but you know what was
This inexperienced. Did you win the hearts of the school with your populist ways?
Yeah, I did actually.
Oh, I know this story.
Yeah, so I ran against.
Oh, this is completely a sitcom episode. This is completely Saved by the Bells. This is
the person. So it's true. I didn't make it back onto the academic team, but maybe my credentials were conceivably in doubt, except that the person I was running against was Bryce, the literally the quarterback of the varsity football team.
So you could say this idiot.
Well, no, it was more
Rube.
that, it was more that I was more that I picked that one to run for because I was like,
You said if I run, I will run as a Republican because they will vote for anything or whatever you said.
No, I was
you
just
said
like,
that whatever that stupid Donald Trump quote is, whether it's real or not.
I don't know. I was like, no, I'm gonna throw this in the toilet. I'm just gonna run against literally. I mean, he was
Okay.
like,
So
the
this was the
most
opposite of
popular
calculated.
kid in the school. No, it was completely calculated because I'm like, well, I'll just run for something. I'll just run to give my friend a boost.
No, yeah,
and,
sorry.
hang
This was
out, but I'm
completely
gonna-
not calculated to win. It was you basically the
It was
producers
calculated
to yourself.
throw it away. Yeah, I didn't like.
I see.
Because he had posters all over the school. He was, and the thing is, he was legitimately a super nice guy. It wasn't even like he was the football quarterback who was like a jerk.
yeah.
He was like a nice, intelligent person who was also just like a tall, ripped dude. It was cartoonish how just like optimal of a high school archetype this person was. And so I'm like, okay, well, this is hilarious. I will just not do anything for this. So I didn't put up any posters, which was, how people marketed themselves for ASB office in high school. And he had shit all over the school, and it was a totally absurd comparison. And then, at least at our high school, the way it worked was we had an election convention the day before, maybe a couple days before.
To confirm the primary nominee, and then
I mean, anyone running could be part of the convention.
Yeah,
but it was there was sort of an infrastructure around it because every class. So it was held during a period. It was like second period. It was the class before lunch was when the convention was held, and every class was able to elect, I think, 2 delegates to the convention. And which I think happened a week before the convention. Every like second period Tuesday or whatever class elected delegates, which was always, of course, just the 2 most popular kids in that group of students. And so the convention then took place during class and was all of us running for office on the stage, and then on the bleachers were all the delegates who were sitting out from class, and then we had to go up there. And each of us individually be like, okay, and here are the candidates for academic commissioner. And there were only, some of them, there were a bunch of people running. Some of them, in our case, there were only 2 running for academic commissioner, just me and Bryce. And the night, I had not prepared anything for this because I was like, I'm throwing this. I'm not doing anything. This is a lost cause. But the night before, I remember I started doing this at 10 p.m. the night before. I just had like a stupid idea, and I was like, all right, I'm going to put together something really dumb. And I went on the internet, and I downloaded a copy of the 1812 Overture, which, if you know it, is the piece of music that's like and it's got those are cannonballs.
Right.
Traditionally, it's performed with actual cannon in the orchestra hall. And I wrote a sort of rousing populist speech about a new world order that I like rehearsed in my bedroom at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Where a young Stephen Miller, just like,
where I timed all of the like big applause lines to like the cymbal crashes and the cannonball fire. So I would be like, and we are going to establish a new, like, I think I ended up by saying like, this will be the new Remo order, like taking back our school and like showing this school administration who's really in charge. And it was
it meant nothing.
It meant literally nothing. I had no policies or like pledges to the student body. And I just had this huge rousing speech with all of these, applause lines, and it was timed to the music.
Fucking
and a really
asshole.
And I'm just like, this will just be a funny thing to do. Like, it'll just be like I'll just use my opportunity to stand in front of, hundreds of kids and much of the faculty and just, do something ridiculous. And it was such it really was an intensely powerful feeling experience. Orchestra, cannonballs, cymbals, and the place went fucking nuts. The place went absolutely shithouse.
This is really gross.
I'm
Just finish your story and then we'll get to the message.
I got a standing ovation that lasted for a very long time, and for like weeks after that, people would just. I fucking destroyed him in the election. By the way, it was not. It was not close. It was
biggest lead ever.
Well, because people went back to like the delegate.
You never let him forget it.
The delegate system was like people literally went back to their classes and were just like, this kid did this outrageous thing. And I did that in my junior year, and I remember my final year and a half of high school was completely different to my first 2.5 years. It just everything flipped.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Given the high that you rode from that speech and the way everyone high-fived you and stuff, how did it feel to have to actually be the chair of the academic committee? Did you just wish? Did you just wish that you could keep campaigning instead?
I'm gonna say yes to that.
You're gonna defer to your opponent.
Yeah. I think I just stopped going to ASB meetings eventually.
Oh, good. Good.
So
Good.
you. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to talk about this on the podcast. The amount of surprise that you have felt over the last year. You're the person least allowed to be surprised by any of this, it turns out.
I was in high school. How old was I? I was...
Yeah, okay.
Give me a fucking break.
You know what's weird? In sitcoms, no one says goodbye on the phone, but everyone in real life says goodbye on the phone. That's a really surprising thing that a lot of people learn, that sitcoms aren't real.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I had to eject out of that subject as rapidly as I could. It is actually genuinely true. In the early 2000s when I first started meeting people online,
yeah,
in real life, friends that I met on the internet who weren't from America, they always asked, or many of them asked, or would see me on the phone and say bye, see ya, and hang up and be like, whoa, I thought Americans didn't say goodbye on the telephone.
Wow.
Because in sitcoms, no one ever does.
Yeah,
They're sounds good.
Not just in sitcoms. I would say in dramatic works even more so. No one says goodbye.
No one says goodbye anywhere.
In television or movies. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was my real answer to that question.
Yeah. At the end of that speech, I didn't say goodbye either.
Yeah. Just hung up the phone on our future.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, I don't know how did we? I thought a sitcom. I don't even know.
We're talking about your life being a sitcom. That's a pointed political drama. It turns out.
Yeah.
I wonder if now there's a person who is learning completely bizarre, horrible life lessons. There
are. What
sorry.
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
I meant more specifically.
Listening to this podcast.
Yeah. There's no new information conveyed in this podcast.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah, what? Yeah, what?
To say?
I don't know.
We have in this episode we've talked about television shows whose contents are completely untrustworthy because their integrity has been compromised.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about people who watch TV shows and glean completely insane, inaccurate things, and then people who internalize the life lessons of those things. Mm-hmm. So hopefully people I was going to say that they would misinterpret all of the things we've talked about, but no, what we've actually described is all of these things somehow resulting in inadvertently accurately portraying the world.
Whoops.
Yeah, I guess the takeaway, if you are this person who takes to heart misinterpreted, altered versions of reality, is just, I guess the world has always been bad.
Yeah. This tracks with my that's the most fucked up takeaway.
Right.
Is the kid who grows up with all this stuff and says, I was taught precisely how to navigate the world and understand its meaning.
That's actually really depressing to think, if you're even back in the time of Taxi or I Love Lucy or whatever, they were just excited about the movie that comes out this week.
And they were just, right. Actually, you don't internalize it as product placement. They were just really accustomed to seeing this everywhere and being really pleased about it.
Yeah, everyone.
Especially when it's a remake of a film from the 70s that is just called the same title. Yeah, just they really like the thing. I
thought it was
weird.
Man, this episode of Rhoda, they're really stoked for Thor Ragnarok. I guess these Marvel properties really are timeless.
Yeah, this must be a reboot. This must be a reboot of the one from 1975.
Yeah, right.
Chris Hemsworth really hasn't aged over the last million years.
I mean, he is Thor.
Yes.
So, shall we endorse?
Sure.
All right. Nick. Why don't you endorse?
Okay. I'm. It's getting cold in San Francisco.
It is. It's suddenly
getting
gotten
abnormally
cold in the
chilly.
last couple days. Yeah.
And I was digging through my drawer, my dresser drawer, and I found these socks that were gifted to me by my parents on Christmas. You know, when your parents just give you like a scarf or like some socks, and you just go like, "I'm never gonna wear these."
Yeah, the kind of gift that starts off, and the older you get, the less terrible and the more a totally worthwhile gift.
These, normally, yes. If they buy you an item of clothing now, I'm 32, I'm happy. But these were pretty outrageous. They were like multicolored.
You're 32.
Slippers,
when's your birthday?
In a month.
Okay.
But they were sort of they were kind of the wacky like stocking stuffer thing of just like these are sort of like slipper socks with like they're like tie-dye colored, like goofy colors. It's like something that I'm just like not gonna wear probably.
Yeah.
But I found them and I was like, I'll give these a shot.
Yeah.
They're so nice. They're like they're not just socks. They're kind of a
they're not
just socks. They're like
a black and white photograph of Nick trying to put on regular socks and like falling over into the bureau and knocking over all your bookshelves.
Yeah. They're like a sock slipper combo. They are these socks that kind of go like halfway up your calf, and then they're very warm and comfortable, but also they have like a grip on the bottom. That's like it's like a rubber like track in the way that like a shoe.
20 years too early with this. Age-wise for this.
Yeah, no.
Keep going.
Well, all right. So I'm gonna be just done now, but they're called Polar Feet, and they're real. I had to ask my mom what they were.
Right. Yeah.
But they're actually really really nice because when you're just like in the kitchen and it's like slippery, it's nice to have a little grip on the bottom of your like slipper socks when it's cold.
See, I could totally actually get into this because so my wife loves wearing slippers around. Like we just like collect slippers from hotels that we ever stay in just to always have a sort of free supply of slippers, and she wears them all the time. And I have like a couple times tried to get into slippers, but I just don't care enough to do it. Like I just don't give a shit. I'll just walk around.
I like the idea of slippers, but they're always under the bed and they're always just kind of fuck it. Yeah.
And so this, if you just put those on once, then you never have to think about it or worry about it.
Yeah.
That's never change your socks again.
Yeah. So they're called Polar Feet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll look into this. I'll put it in the thing. I will endorse. Chris will endorse something. This is going to some people maybe be a new thing, probably to a lot of people be something they definitely already are aware of. But in my case, it's something I rediscovered, and it is the online service and app Instapaper.
Classic.
Yeah, yeah. There's another thing actually that I've mentioned Sarah a few times this episode, but she is an avid Instapaper user, and what Instapaper is it's a service that it is a website, but also an app you can put on your phone and a sort of extension on your browser and your phone. I assume equally on iPhone and Android. And the way it works is, if you're on any sort of article, or I guess theoretically any content on the internet, but I use it for articles, you can press the Instapaper button on your browser extension or your phone thing, and it just squirrels that away onto your Instapaper account, where it actually downloads it. It can download it locally, for example, on your phone onto your actual device. So when you go into your Instapaper account and click on that article, it loads up a very clean, streamlined version of the article that is locally cached. So even if you don't have internet access, you can pull it up, and it just records all of the links that you've sent to Instapaper, and you can just access them at any time. There may well be other functionality this service has, but that's really what that's the main thing, and that's what I use it for. And I had sort of forgotten that this app existed, as things like Twitter became at least for me, my primary method of sort of starting on the internet and then branching out to things people link to. That sort of has become my de facto way of aggregating content. But the thing that I realized about this when I saw her using it and said, oh, you know what, I should install that again. I haven't used it in a long time. Turns out I haven't used it since 2011, which I know because all the articles that were on my Instapaper account still were all from 2011. And I've gotten back into using it over the last week, and it's been great because what it has reminded me of is that most of what I'm doing on my phone most of the time, if there isn't something specific I'm doing, is just clicking around doing nothing. It's just a total waste of time, which is fine in moderation. But always having a list of articles that me in the past has filed away, it's like a nudge to my future self to be like, hey, here's something that's probably actually at least somewhat interesting and informative that you could spend your time on. If I'm on the subway and I'm going through a tunnel and I don't have internet access, or even if I do, I can just load up something that I have, secreted away to myself from past me who was more ambitious about how I was going to spend my time. And it's just a very low friction way for me to keep up with all the stuff that I meant to read. And it estimates how long it'll take to read each article based on the word count, which is handy. You can sort of tailor. It's just a very clean, simple service that I apologize if you already know about this, like millions of people already do. But even if you did and you haven't used it again, give it a shot. Instapaper. It is a nice sort of counterweight to the way the internet encourages you to use it. Also, it's nice in the age of terrible mobile websites, which have just become increasingly awful. So, Instapaper.
I think Instapaper is now operated and maintained by someone else, but it was created by Marco Arment, who created the podcast, who created the podcast app Overcast, which is a great app, and also he was one of the early engineers at Tumblr.
That's right. Yeah, and Overcast is my preferred.
So you love Marco Arment software?
I guess I do. Jake, what is your endorsement?
So I would like to also endorse a piece of computer software, or a couple pieces of computer software. What I would like to endorse is a piece of computer software called FaceRig.
Oh man, nice.
FaceRig is a really simple facial capture and animation tool. It basically takes your face from a webcam, like just any webcam, the camera on your laptop or whatever, and uses a bunch of really high-tech facial recognition stuff to be able to detect where your mouth, nose, eyebrows, and head are, and then it maps it onto a 3D character, many of which are just already inside of that app or that piece of software, and you can just puppet a gross
a fox,
a fox or a fucking Doge, or the heavy from the video game Team Fortress 2, or an anime, and you can replace your webcam with this. If you are in an office that regularly does webcam-based communication, such as mine, I highly recommend downloading and installing FaceRig and just showing up on a conference call as a crappy anime character. Alternatively, the streaming program XSplit, which is what we use to record all of our Idle Thumbs episodes, is it also registers itself as a webcam that you can use in Google Hangouts or Zoom or Skype or whatever. Yeah. And it's another, it has green screening opportunities. You can dupe yourself. You can do all sorts of horrible things to your video image. I just highly recommend using FaceRig or XSplit or any program that allows you to unexpectedly manipulate your webcam presence and then appear in a semi-professional environment in this new form.
Right.
It gets good results, and also it makes you hate the perfunctory, work-required webcam use less. At our office, we've gotten in some very good webcam wars between people green screening each other into each other's video, and then also suddenly a 3D dog smoking a cigar appears. That's all.
Is it Facecam is what it's called?
FaceRig.
FaceRig. Yeah. For being really affordable consumer grade software, the facial recognition and motion tracking is shockingly good.
Yeah.
It's very expressive. You can, when you smile or frown, it is replicated in the 3D character with a shocking degree of convincingness.
Yeah. This tech is becoming increasingly normal. I mean, there's the iPhone 10 has that 3D emoji thing. God, 3D emoji thing erase my life.
What is that?
It's basically that tech, but they've applied it to all of the emojis. So you can load up the alien face or the poo, and then make it go "Hey, I'm mad now. I'm weird." Yeah, you can animate the poo and then send the animated poo to someone.
Make your own emoji movie. What's even the point of the emoji movie?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're the star of the emoji movie.
Point of the emoji movie, I guess.
Why do we need the emoji movie now that I can animate the poo with my own face?
Yeah.
I do not endorse animating the poo with your own face, but I do endorse FaceRig and XSplit.
All right.
To sabotage,
to spice up your autonomatronic
office remote working experience.
Remote work, soul-sucking experience.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that is our episode of Important If True for this just post-Halloween time. Thank you for listening. If you like this show, please consider telling a friend, spreading the word on social media. We should have a hashtag, you guys.
Nope.
All right.
Should we, Chris?
Hashtag nope.
Yeah, we should. Well, maybe I'll think about that and propose one next week then. But anyway, please do tell people about this podcast, whether it is personally or through your influencing channels. It means a lot to us, and it is really the only way we have to spread the word. Our website is importantiftrue.com, and there you can find all the places that we reside on the internet. If you need our advice, if you have a problem that needs solving, anything of that nature, you can send us questions to questions@importantiftrue.com, and we will do our best. If you like the show and you would like an ad-free version, you can find that at patreon.com/idlethumbs. Wow. Where, appropriately enough, as of this week, we are also starting to release ad-free episodes of our video game podcast, Idle Thumbs. So that will be there on the available to Patreon patrons as well. All right. Well, I think that's it. For Idle Thumbs, I am Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
We will be back next week. Stay spicy.
Hashtag stay spicy.
Gross.
Yeah.
Thank God we both knew.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting.